Hey bookworms, welcome back to the channel, welcome if you're new. I'm Sam and in today's video we'll be talking about all the romance books I've gave 5 stars to. I asked over on my community page on YouTube and Bookstagram what video you want to see this week. It was between 5-star predictions and every romance book I gave 5 stars, and this one won. I think it won by like 6 votes on top of what the other one got. I will be doing a 5-star prediction video, hopefully. But yeah, we're going to talk about all the romance books I've gave 5 stars for, which kind of works out because I'm currently filming a new series where I'm reading a bunch of romance books in order to find a new 5-star. This kind of works out. Obviously, if I've gave any 5 stars through that series, it's not going to be included because obviously that ruins it. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. You'll have to wait to find out. That video should be going up at the end of this month. Let's just jump straight into it, shall we? So the first book I have here is actually the first book that got me back into reading. I hadn't been reading for a couple of years due to my depression was really bad and I was really struggling, and a lot of the things that I love doing I just stopped doing, which it sucks, but this shit. I'm gonna try. So the book I'm talking about is One Day in December. I know this one is not everyone's favourite book, but I love this book so much. This is by Josie Silver, and in this book we follow a character called Laurie. She's on this bus and she looks out the window and there's this guy, and it's kind of like an insta-love sort of thing. And at first I was a bit like, we don't like that. We don't like insta-love. Although I did look at Tom Ellis and was like, I've been a lot of reviews, so maybe it does exist. But it's just a one-way situation, which sucks for me. Not for him, for me. So she starts searching for this guy with her friend for like a year, which is a little crazy. But whatever, you do you, girl. And then the drama sets in because her best friend is having like a party or some sort of party. Oh, a Christmas party. A year later. And she introduces her new boyfriend. I'm sorry, there's like a mark on my book and it's bugging me. She introduces her I can't speak today. She introduces, oh my lord. She introduces her new boyfriend, which just so happens to end up being the guy that's on the bus stop. Our main character decides not to tell her best friend this because, you know, her best friend's happy. She's like, I think he forgot about me. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, we don't know. But in this book, we do get to follow both points of view. And one thing that I absolutely loved about this book was that it was set over 10 years. So a lot can happen in 10 years and a lot does happen. It's so realistic to everything that's going on. And I don't want to spoil anything because obviously, you know, a lot does happen in this. A lot happens to both of our characters. And there are so many moments in this book that made me emotional. Like there's a particular scene with Laurie's best friend and Jack that actually made me emotional, which I wouldn't have expected considering that we obviously want Laurie with the main guy, but he's with her best friend. And throughout this book, one thing I cared more about than anything was Laurie and her friendship, because I didn't want anything to destroy that. I fell so in love with their friendship. It just felt so real and something that I really want. Like I want a friend like that. So can someone like below if you want to be my friend? I want a friend like that. Not only that, there was a point where I was like, are these even going to end up together? Because there was that doubt that was like completely pushed into my head, like, wait, what if they don't? Because it made me feel that way, which normally with romance books you never feel like that. It's not a question, but with this book I did feel like it. I was going to reread it this Christmas, just gone, think it's time to. I'm hoping that I'll make room for it December because this is like the perfect little rom-com romance book for December and I loved it. Next up is a series, and this series isn't exactly popular, and I've had people be like, why are you giving it 5 stars? Yeah, it's not even worth 5 stars. Well, you know what? It's worth 5 stars to me because it's, yeah. So do it. Because I like it, okay? I'm trash for the series, and if people got a problem, I don't care. And that's the American Royals. There's another book coming out. But I love this series. I would say the middle one was more of a 4.5, but I did give it 5 stars time, so it's here. So in this series, we're following like 4 different women. We follow Beatrice, who's next in line to be queen. We follow Princess Samantha, who's the princess, but also a twin to Prince Jefferson. We follow Nina, which is Samantha's best friend. She's not royal at all. And then we follow Daphne, who basically is all about being royal and being known and wants to be back with Prince Jefferson because they used to date. This book has so much drama and twist in it that is unbelievable. It's basically Princess Diaries meets Gossip Girl because it's crazy. There's like this whole love triangle thing because we have Beatrice, who is in love with her bodyguard, but she's supposed to be getting married to someone who's worthy of, you know, being married to the potential next queen. But then Samantha has a thing with the guy that she ends up choosing, which is like, damn. Nina likes Prince Jefferson, but it's her best friend's brother, and they're also friends, and then Daphne wants to be with him. It's like a whole lot of drama. I really liked it, and obviously I can't talk about the second lot of books without spoiling it, but this one, a lot happens that I was shocked about, and I actually thought this was the last one because I swear it was supposed to be, and then she announced the first one, which was like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So then I thought this one was the last one until I read it. This is probably the best ending to this entire series so far. And I remember I was listening to it or I was reading it out loud. I can't remember, but my partner was listening as well. So he's either listening to me read it or... No, I was reading it out loud because then I just stopped talking. He goes, oh, hello. What happened? Are you even listening? I'm not reading story time, I was just reading out loud. But what happens was just like so shocking. So much happened in this one. That, like, the new one comes out this year, and I've been trying to work it out because she said that the title of the new one is in this book. I can't find it. It's go on the back. It's got Love, Power, Scandal, Betrayal, American Royals come in 2023. The fourth one, which I believe is the last one. But yeah, if you wanted something like just fun and gossipy and drama, and you like Gossip Girl and Princess Diaries, then you're gonna like this series. It's good. I love it. I love it so much. Next up is a book by a very popular author. She's the one who wrote The Spanish Love Deception. And that book's not on this list, so you guys might be shocked, but it's not. But her sequel is, which is, well, not sequel, it's not a sequel. It's her second book. It's just the character from the first book is in it. And that is The American Roommate Experiment. I actually preferred this one a lot more than I did with The Spanish Love Deception. I think I gave The Spanish Love Deception about 4 stars maybe, and this one got 5 stars. So in this book we're following the best friend Rosie, and she needs someone to stay because her roof fell in, so she goes to stay in her friend's like apartment because they're away, and I think it's like they don't use that apartment anymore. And then her best friend's cousin's also staying there, but she didn't know that, so there's like this really funny beginning scene where she thinks like it's an intruder, so she's on the phone to the police, and then he's like, wait, are you actually calling someone? Because like, you're not outside the door. And the police are like, stop interacting with the intruder. It's hilarious. And anyway, he ends up like letting her stay. They end up coming to an agreement that they both live in an apartment together, and then he offers to basically take on these dates to help her write her romance novel that she's doing. And it's just so cute because obviously she likes him. She's liked him from just his picture. She's like crushing him for ages, but now she's meeting him in person. And this book is just honestly cute as hell. There are so many cute moments in this that I was like, oh my god, I love this guy. Forget the guy from Spanish Love Deception. You guys can have him. I want him. What's his name? Lucas. Lucas is like heaven. I'm sorry, he's heaven. There's so many moments in this book though. Like there's a moment where she's annoyed because he won't look at her when she's getting undressed. Like he's been a gentleman, but she takes it as offense. Like, why won't you look at me? Do you not want to see me like this? It's just funny, it's cute, it's romantic, it's so perfect. And if you like the whole roommate forced proximity, then this book fits onto that list perfectly. Next up is another book by a very popular author, and this one is Hang the Moon. This is the person who wrote Written in the Stars and Count Your Lucky Stars. I've not read Written in the Stars, which I really should because I have a book I gave 4 stars. But Hang the Moon, this one has not been beaten by her books yet. I don't know Written in the Stars will be, I doubt it. In this book we're following a character called Brendan and what is her name? And Annie. Annie's not like a hopeless romantic or anything. She doesn't really believe in like that hopeless romantic stuff. Brendan does, so he has like a dating website. So when she comes back in town to visit her friend, she's actually gone away, and her friend's like, you can stay in my apartment, and my brother like let you in. And then the brother's like, oh, let me show you around, because he used to have like this big crush on her and he still likes her, and then he wants to prove to her that like love, romance, like it exists and stuff like that. So the book's kind of him like setting out to make her realise that that does exist, like romance is real, and she's just kind of against that. But it's so cute, like these 2 characters, oh my god. I mean, come on guys, look at the cover. This is so perfect, and it's so nice to meet a guy who's all romantic and the woman who's like totally not into that. It's just different. There's a moment in this book though, on a Ferris wheel, and something happened. It's hilarious. It is so hilarious, and I was like, that is just something that would happen to me. If you guys haven't read this one yet, but you've read Written in the Stars and Other book and you've enjoyed it, you need to pick this one. In my opinion, this is the best one. Although I've not read, like I said, Written in the Stars, I need to. I freaking love this book so much. Oh my god, I want to read it now. I can't. Anyway, next one is a book that I read recently. I read it in December. I read it for my Reindeer Readathon. Check out the Reindeer Readathon over here if you haven't. And that is Holiday Romance. So in this book, we're following these 2 characters who need to go to Ireland to get home. Things are a little bit thing at first with them because at the beginning of the book, she's on the phone to her friend who's going to break up with her boyfriend, which she had like on Christmas Eve, like right over the phone. And she's like, you can't do that. So anyway, she boards the plane, and sitting next to her is her friend's boyfriend. Now she's trying to stop him from answering his phone from her best friend dumping in. So she just comes across like a weirdo. And over the course of the book, we get the past where they've had all their flights together and had a become friends, and the present where all the flights have been grounded. They can't get home, and she's determined to get him home for Christmas because he's a proper Christmas crazy person. He absolutely loves it. He loves family. He loves Christmas jumpers, where she's like kind of the Grinch towards Christmas. And this book is just filled with Christmas stuff, like the mistletoe and Christmas music and Christmas jumpers, Christmas markets, snow. If you want a Christmassy read and you're looking for one for December time next this year, so say next year, this year, then you need to pick up this one. I'm going to be reading a lot more by this author because this book was just so good. It was literally everything I wanted in a romance book for Christmas. Also, I apologise for my voice because it's still not better. It's been a couple of weeks now, my voice has not returned. So, it could be my new voice. Next up is a book by a very popular author. I mean, most people know this author is. And that is Colleen Hoover, November 9. This was the first book that I read by this author. And we're following these two characters that meet on November 9. And the one character starts to write his book about her or something. And every year they meet on that day only. I was like, okay, will I like this though? Can you really fall in love over the course of this time? But then I guess you've known each other. You're thinking about that person, so you can. Now, I thought this was just that typical romance. I was wrong, because the twist that happened in this book is something that don't normally happen in romance books. So to the end of this book, some stuff happened that I was not expecting, and it shocked me so much that I was just like, okay, wow. It was, if you've read this, you know what I mean, but this took me completely by surprise, and it's one of my favourite books. And it's also my first introduction to Colleen Hoover. Another one of her books that I have on this list is It Ends With Us. This book I was not going to read, but everybody was talking about it. It was on sale. I bought it, and oh my god. It's on here. Sometimes the one who loves you is the one who hurts you most. Oh god. If you're going to read this book, just be warned that it's not just a romance. Check out the content warning, because again, I went into this with not knowing what it's about, and I was able to handle it perfectly fine. It shocked me, but I think it what made this book absolutely beautiful. It's got some trauma in it and some harsh topics, and it's very difficult to read, but at the same time it's just written beyond well, and just fall in love with these characters. Lily and Atlas are two of my favourite characters that will ever exist, and I have a place in my heart for them now forever. I remember finishing this book, and thankfully the sequel was already out or coming out, and I ended up buying that one straight away and reading it, and that one again is on the list. And that is It Starts With Us. In this book we pretty much like pick up from where the first book ended, and we're following Lily, but in this book we also get like Atlas's point of view now, so we get to learn a bit more about him, and this again was just honestly beautiful. It's following what happened and how Lily's trying to cope with what happened on the first book and navigate her life and learn to deal with everything that did happen. You still have the character Ryle in it and all the other characters, and honestly Colleen Hoover is incredible. I don't think I've not given one of her books 5 stars yet, so yeah. It's also the perfect conclusion to the first book. You can just read the first book if you want, but I mean, if you loved it that much, you're going to want to read the next one. The next one is one of my all-time favourite romance books, I'd say, and that one is You Deserve Each Other. This one is like second chance romance, sort of. These two characters are engaged and they both want to end it, but the other one doesn't want to end it because that means that person will have to pay for like, the wedding. So they're both trying to like do all these pranks on each other, force the other one to end it, and it's just crazy but a lot of fun. But also it's about these characters really falling in love, and I remember there's specifically this moment of our character being at home alone, and she's telling him that she misses him, and it's something that he does that I was just like, can you imagine a guy doing this for you? Oh, I found love with this character at this point. What are the names? Naomi and Nicholas, yeah. It's also so funny because there's moments in his book like with his parents, and his mum's kind of a bit mean to her, and there's one point where the mum comes to the house to see them and she's like just expecting to be allowed to be let in, and I can't remember if they're a bit high or not, but they're basically hiding from her, and then the Naomi's like, Nicholas is not home, and she can obviously hear him. Yeah, it's hilarious, it's cute. It's absolutely fun. If you've not read this book and you like romance books, please pick this up because you won't be disappointed. It's just, oh my god. I actually have 2 more books by her and I've not read them. I'm scared. Next one is another book by a popular author, and this one tends not to be the favourite one of the 3, but for me this is my favourite one, and that is Get a Life with Chloe Brown. This one is definitely my favourite out of the 3 books. Like, I enjoyed the other 2 books, but not as much as this one. In this book we follow Chloe. She's kind of chronically ill, so she suffers like a lot of pain. She can't walk very far, and it was interesting to read about a character who is like suffering with a chronic illness in a romance book, but also the love interest Red, his character has been through like abuse, and that's again something that you'll hear about very often, and I think it has made it feel very much more realistic than a lot of other romance books because you're dealing with these real life situations, and I think the author portrayed that very well without it being insulting. It felt very realistic, it was done well, it was done respectfully. And in this book, Chloe is almost hit by a car and she realises she's not really like lived her life, so that's what she does. Like, she make a list, live a life. I mean, her list here has got enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorbike, go camping, have a meaningless but thoroughly enjoyable sex, travel the world with nothing but hand luggage, and do something bad. The guy Red, he sort of owns the complex, but he is in charge of this complex, and they don't like each other. Like, he thinks she's stuck up snob, she thinks he's just loud and a drunk, and he ends up helping her with her list, and obviously romance blossoms with the 2 characters. Their interactions are hilarious. Like, the first time they properly interact, like after they meet, is when she's stuck in a tree. And this book has a lot of filth in it as well, so it's not like just super cute. There's a lot of filth in this book, which I'm shocked that I enjoyed, but I loved it so much. I like the fact that the characters aren't all stick thin. Like, that's not a problem. Like, people have different body shapes, and in this book, Chloe isn't like a stick thin girl. And I just love that. I love the representation of bigger girls. I want to read it again. I want to read all of these again, but like, girl, I don't have time. Next up is A Tale Jenkins Read, which is a book that when I heard what it's about, I was like, I have to read this one, and I always like predicted it was going to be a 5-star, and that is One True Love by Taylor Jenkins Reid. In this book, we follow this character, and she's like married, and she's in love with her high school sweetheart. Everything is perfect till one day he has to go away, and his helicopter crashes, and she's told that he's dead. Her life is torn apart. She's shattered, she's broken hearted, but she has to keep going, she has to move on. And a couple of years later, she's moved on, and she's now dating this guy that she knew from school, and they're engaged, and she's in love, she's moved on. And you know, of course you've got to move on with your life. You can't just stand still. That person never wanted that. While she's at family dinner with her fiance and her parents, she gets a phone call and he's alive, it's him. And now her life has completely been turned upside down again, because the man that she was married to, and I don't know if he was still married technically because he was thought to be dead, the man that she absolutely loved who thought was dead is now back, but she's also engaged to this man. So she loves both of these men, and now she's like torn. So she decides to go and like meet him at the airport and talk to him. Now see, at first she doesn't tell him that she's engaged. Like, I think his family asked her not to. But then the guy that she's with is like scared. He's scared that she's going to go back to him, but he wants her to be happy. Like, I remember there's this one scene particularly in the book where he says, if you choose to be with him, I'll walk away. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember feeling throughout this entire book torn between who she should end up with. And the thing is, in that space of time where she thought he was dead and he was obviously fighting to get back to her, she's changed. She's not who she was when he found love with. Like, he's probably not the same person anymore. People change. But I do have to say, I really did love the ending of this book, although my heart broke for these characters, and I can't imagine what that would be like to face a situation where the person you thought was dead is back. Now you've got to make that choice. Like, who do you choose? And I actually do think the ending was very realistic and very well done. I remember just feeling very torn. I really felt what the character was feeling. So yeah, I love that book so much. And the final book on this list. Okay, so I lied. Technically, that's not my last book, because I actually forgot about a book in particular, which is Beth O'Leary, The No-Show. And it's kind of crazy that I forgot about this book, considering it's on my top 10 books for 2022. Beth O'Leary is definitely one of them. The No-Show is one of my favourite books I've read from her, and I think it's one of the most well thought out books I've read for romance. In this book, we follow 3 different women who meet the same guy on Valentine's Day, but he doesn't show up, so nobody knows where he is and what's happened. And as the book goes on, we start to get the stories of these women and this guy. His name is Joseph. We start to dislike this character very, very much, and as this book goes on, a lot more starts to get revealed, a lot of twists start to happen, and you start to understand the story. One thing that I really love about this book is you could tell that she thought out every single plot. She made it all add up, all come together in the most perfect way that I would not have seen it. I mean, I remember my mouth was open at certain scenes. Like, I was shocked and taken back, because it's just done so brilliantly. Like, she's so incredibly smart to have come up with this. There is a moment in this book though that will break my heart every time I think about it, because it's so unexpected, and it was then so obvious to the character Joseph of why this character's this way, and this is where things had finally started to get revealed. So we were like, okay, now I understand. Beth O'Leary is absolutely brilliant to have created this, and I cannot wait to read more by her. I really do think this is one of her best books. I DNF'd the Flatshare. Sorry, but it was just not really written very good. Like, the second chapter got in the way it's written was like it's written by a completely different person from the first chapter. It angered me, and I may or may not have thrown the book. But that's not saying that I don't believe the Flatshare is a brilliant book. I think the story is brilliant. I just didn't like the writing. I've read The Road Trip, and then I've read this one, which, like I said, hands down one of her best books, which is why it was on my top 10 books of 2022. But anyway, now that we've not forgotten about it, because I only remembered when I was saying it last night, saw it on the shelf and I was like, you're a 5-star. I remember talking about you when I filmed. So yeah, The No-Show was also a 5-star. Now let's get back to the last book on the list. Floatbound by Tris Toller. I remember when I got to the end, I didn't want it to have ended. I was like, literally, like, is that it? That can't be it. We follow a character whose fiance or boyfriend has taken his life, and our character is absolutely broken about this, and she's not able to cope with what's going on. Eventually she decides to take the boat that they had planned to go travelling with and follow the plan that they had together, but she's not very good at sailing, so she ends up needing to hire a guy called Kian. And this book isn't really about them falling in love straight away. It's very slow of them falling in love, because she's learning to move on and be happy and find who she is without him now and cope with what's happened. And the character Kian's got his own story going on as well. It's very real. The metaphors in this book are freaking beautiful. The scenery that is built up in your mind, oh my god, it's incredible. We're literally on this yacht in the middle of the ocean and there's this scene with whales, and I was like, it got me a little emotional, you know. In the scene, she's sitting with our character Kian and she starts to think about I think his name's Ben. She starts to think about Ben and she doesn't want to, because she doesn't want Ben to be a memory in this moment. She just wants this to be a memory where she feels happy, a memory that she can enjoy without the memory of Ben making her feel sad, which is so understandable. There's even like a scene where she gets so angry that Ben took his life, and it's got to that point now where she's angry, and I think you would be. For anyone who'd left you and done this to you, obviously he's not that person, so to go through something, but anger is such a realistic feeling that you would have. And I remember there's a scene where she in the speech just starts screaming and breaks down, and it really got to the core of me, because it's like you felt this character's pain. But I love that in this book, you know, it is a slow burn romance and she starts to find something new, and with this guy Kian, because obviously it's a romance, you know, they're gonna do it together, but I like that it took its time. I like that it was slow, and I love the story that happened in this and the setting. It's one of the most beautiful books I've read, and I cannot wait to read her third book that's coming out this year. But I will always recommend this book to everyone, just be warned, there's some mention of suicide is in it. That is all the 5-star reads that I read, are romances, and most of them that I read are 4 stars or 3. How many do we actually have here? 14? 14. Not a lot, that's 5-star. Which is why I'm doing that new series where I try to find new ones. I'm really hoping I do. Like I said, guys, follow me on my Instagram. If you can't follow me on my Instagram because you don't have it, then you can just go onto my YouTube community page, and I've got loads of posts there. If you see like a post that's like owed, like a couple of days owed, a couple of weeks, you can still vote on it because I'm going back and checking them anyway. Like I said, there's going to be like 4 different episodes, so you can definitely still vote if you want. You can comment in videos what romance books you like. So yeah, you can take part in it. But also I'm actually posting other things over there, like polls on what figures you want to see. Like with this one, people voted the romance one over the other one. I've also posted a poll over there about historical fiction books, so definitely go and check that out. But I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye!